All right, we had to put this on the back burner. We had clients' vehicles we had to get to. We got the motor mated up, bolted in, and well, I'll let Justin say where we're at.
Alright, well, we had a little bit of fun. This motor apparently came out of a two-wheel drive vehicle instead of a four-wheel drive, which we weren't aware of. So we started to put the motor back in, realized the oil pans are different. So if you get one from a two-wheel drive vehicle, it will work, but you're going to have to swap the oil pans, obviously, and the oil pickup tube. Alright, also, when you're going to put the motor back in on the driver's side exhaust manifold, make sure that you put it back in at the exact time that it came off, which is when the motor is about halfway in, because obviously there's no room to work around this, and it just makes it way easier. We tried and we couldn't get it in there, so make sure that goes in when the motor is literally about halfway in there. Go ahead and get your spark plugs and all that in there. We left those out for the install on this side, so we didn't break them putting the exhaust manifold back in. And also on the torque converter, when we were putting the torque converter bolts in, the torque converter had slid back into the transmission a little bit, so there's some little handy dandy access ports, I guess you could call them, on the bottom of the transmission. Just pop them out with a screwdriver, and I was able to stick that screwdriver in there and mate it up with the flywheel so that I could get the bolts in, because they're really short bolts. And I believe that's about it.
And underneath the vehicle, we have basically everything back on. We have the exhaust, we have the cross member. There. The oil sensor that's right here, that's a oil pressure sensor. Go ahead and point to it.
It's right there below this thing.
So if you break that off while pulling the vehicle out, the motor out, it's just a oil pressure sensor.
Yeah, so again, I think we commented on it before in the other videos, but make sure you take that out before you pull the motor out, and then put it back in after the motor's back in, because we broke it, and the people who pulled this used motor out also broke it, so we had to buy a new one.
Well, we're hoping that we'll be doing the start probably sometime tomorrow if we don't get another car to start working in. Also, you can start seeing all the parts that we took off this car. These are all the old parts right here, except the radiator. The radiator is going back on. These are all the parts that was on that motor, and the only things we're reusing is the fan, the air box. That's it. That's all the old stuff.
Look, I'm already at the water pump. It's literally that easy. It's like super easy.
All right, so we got the motor all together. Everything's all bolted up, and we have to take it all back apart again because the water pump has a leak on it. And we already got a new water pump for it, and Justin's already getting at it. So we should have this out here in pretty short order. Other than the fact that the water pump was leaking, everything else is running and working just fine. So once we have this done, we should be ready to start it and get it up to temperature. We'll get back when we get to that point. All right, so the motor's in, fan shroud's in, motor's running as you can hear, and it sounds really good. A lot better than what was in there. A lot better than what was in there. So we're going to be ordering all the suspension parts.
Get to work on that. Probably do some tie rods and stuff too. Get the front end tighter. Do the lift and the tires, light bar. It's going to be a really cool off-road truck. A couple notes though. A few little problems we ran into after we got the motor in, got it running. the transmission cooler lines over here, if you want to zoom in. We had a really big problem with the lower and the upper wanting to leak due to these clips. We went ahead and replaced them several times actually, because one of the new clips was leaking too. We ended up just spraying it with some copper gasket sealer, and just make sure these clips, they can't move at all. Make sure they're tight in there. If they can move at all, even when it's clipped in, the clip's bad, and you need to replace it. And we were getting some drips from that. Got a brand new fan on there.
Yeah.
Couldn't think of anything else. I know there's more stuff.